Hello, listeners, and welcome to the pod. I'm Stephen, known online as Plague Mantle for various reasons, and I am your host. I'd like to welcome to the pod the illicit witch herself and my best friend Holly. Hey, Holly, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
And of course, our very own salvage man and crafter par excellence.
Hello,
Mr. Mark Cordory. Woo! How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing remarkably well, all things considered. Thank you very much.
You're looking very summery in your.
Yes, well, I've been doing a lot of gardening today.
Did you put the plant in to make it look more summery?
I did, yes. I'm currently feeling like I'm down at the beach.
For people who don't have the visuals, there is a plant in the same room that Mark is in.
And I can point out that you're sitting on the same sofa as Kate Bush, so...
I am sitting on the same sofa as Kate Bush.
We
Yes, I
move
am.
in mysterious circles.
Everything has changed. Like my backdrop's different. You know, everything's very, very different to before. But so here we are. Some of you might be long-term listeners and remember a pod from many, many centuries ago that we called "Larping Up That Hill." That was the pod all about our experiences as larpers and how it changed our lives and the stories that we had to tell on that journey from there to here. What? My best old person impression.
It doesn't sound like an old person. It sounds like a constipated person.
Old people can be constipated. We are rising from the ashes of that podcast.
Not well.
To bring you new and old listener alike a brand new experience. I do this with many waving arms if you're looking at me. What's changed? What's different? Because, we've changed the title of the pod and me saying we're rising from the ashes and we're the same three people with Kit behind the scenes, of course, our wonderfully hidden producer. We're the same bunch of guys and girls. It's like, there's not that much difference, but it has changed. The locale, for one thing, and also what we're going to be talking about. The subjects have grown. We hadn't outgrown LARPing. We hadn't finished talking about it. There's still a lot to say on the LARPing subjects, I think. But yeah, we've got other things to talk about. Tabletop role-playing games. I definitely want to talk about those. Board games. Holly,
yes.
Go on. What you got? What you got in your bag?
No, I was just, there's a lot that we've done with tabletop role-playing in the last kind of year and a half or so. So it's going to be good to get into that. There's a lot that we want to do.
Well, we play Lorcana now, so there's cards.
We also do, there's cards too. Yeah, like cardboard crack.
Mark was in that new Winnie the Pooh movie.
Well, I was just thinking that if you guys are going to be talking about games and specific games and introduce, I can be the complete Luddite because you know how good I am with rules and learning them. So you'll be able to test them out on me.
So we could call it a podcast, Two Geeks and a Luddite.
That's exactly why you were out of that was my suggestion earlier, Mark, when you were out of the room.
It works.
And they're also like obviously festivals because we're going to festivals. This is the thing, we're doing a lot more stuff now. So we're going to festivals collectively. We're going to festivals individually. We're going to festivals or conventions, and we're like there's books that Holly is desperate to talk about. Her ever-growing book collection. I've actually started to read again, which is quite rare for me. I haven't had time for years and years and years, but this year alone I've read 13 books. 5 in February when I started reading books, which is nice. Good again. Everything really. We're going to talk about like all the things under the sun. So that's kind of what the pod's changed to. And obviously, depending on how we advertise this and where it goes, you might not know exactly who we are from previous incarnations of the pod. So I'll do a proper introduction rather than just saying, hi, this is Mark and hi. But not in that voice because that wasn't the voice I used earlier. You may have noticed.
No, it wasn't.
Like
really showcasing all your voices.
You're
there.
the Lon Chaney of voices, man of 1,000 voices.
I.
Oh no.
Matron.
Anyway.
Double no.
Anyway. So Mark. So if you don't know Mark Cordory, I assume you do, but if you don't, Mark was the very first LARPer in the country, or the world, as many might say. He was born at the top of a mountain in an egg, much like Monkey of legend. Isn't that right, Mark? You carried
That-
larping down off the hill with you.
This is so true, and all the people who were in the hobby before me will have nothing to say about that. I
Sorry,
came along early to the hobby. I mean, I started 1982 was my first experience of live role play, as it was back then, and yeah, changed my life.
and you birthed one of the first systems.
One of the early systems, yes, Mythlaw. But I think we were the system which had the first real use of full monster costumes and props, which a lot
In my
of the
loft.
other ones. Yeah. So yeah, that was really something I strived to do to make
There you
my
go.
games more visual.
You may also Mark from TV and film, because I'll bang the drum of the fact that like Mark was on Doctor Who forever, and basically designed Gallifrey and the TARDIS and thought of Doctor in the first place. He was behind. No, he wasn't really, but you designed the loads of the TARDIS stuff, didn't you? And the bits and pieces for the Dalek ships and stuff in the.
I did a lot of set dressing, and I did some set dressing on the original Eccleston TARDIS and the original Dalek spaceship, and yeah, set dressing and props.
And then we can walk into the world of Nightmare from the 80s and.
Oh
Iron
dear God,
Maiden.
yeah. See, you're talking to a very specific age group there who remember Nightmare.
I am not one of them.
No, well, there you go. You're of an indeterminate age rather than the specific age, Holly.
You're not
Yes.
constipated enough yet to truly understand.
When I said that, I didn't mean that being old and being constipated were like mutually exclusive.
I remember that.
Sure. I'm sure there are a lot of old people out there who have enough fibre in their
Who
diet.
can remember their last poo?
And Nightmare.
And Nightmare, yeah.
And of course, Iron Maiden and no stuff.
Yeah,
We can talk about
I made stuff. Ow.
and then into post epoch and being the salvaged man, and you can go and visit Mark's website, which is Mark Cordory Creations.
No.
No,
No.
Do your research, man. It's
Okay,
markcordery.com.
there you go, Mark Cordory. That was my research. I don't know where the creations came from.
No.
I must have made that up. Go there as well. See what's there. You never know. It's probably porn. It's just a porn site of old people taking poos.
Don't.
Yeah, well, I'll get some interesting visitors. I'm already getting a load of fucking spam.
Well, that's good. That's full of fibre.
I
don't
really
think
don't
it
think
is.
it is.
So obviously,
Do you know what fibre is?
I'm really going to sound like that when I'm old.
Said the man who hasn't had a poo for 2 weeks.
So the tone for this podcast has been set.
I brought books out and everything. I thought it was going to be relatively highbrow,
Oh,
but
well,
here we
you were
are.
here on the previous one. You know what we're like.
We're less than 10 minutes in and we're talking about poo. Maybe I should go home.
Anyway, so yeah, if you go to the website, the real one, not the weird one that I just made up, you will indeed see Mark's amazing work in post-apocalyptic kit making. And of course, the less said about your theatre work, the better, as you keep saying.
Not because it was bad, because Mark doesn't like talking about it.
No, it's just that I did a theatre design course and never was really that fond of theatre. But it was the only thing available at the time to make stuff. So I chose the course to make stuff.
There you go. And anyway, let's move on to Holly.
Oh no.
In my little list of things to talk about, it just says introduce Holly properly. So I'm changing your surname apparently. You're
Okay.
going to be called Holly properly from now on.
I actually really
You're
like that.
You're like
It
James
sounds
Bond's secretary, but you know.
Holly properly. It really kind of rolls off
It
the
does.
tongue. I really like
I
that.
like it. At least that's who you are now.
Oh, Miss
Holly
Properly.
properly. I love it.
Come along, Miss Properly.
love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Woof.
Wonderful. Sorted. Me. Change it by deed poll in the morning.
Kate Bush has come again. Holly is an embracer of all things geek. So if you're a geek and you get an embrace, treasure the moment, because it's always a good cuddle if you get a cuddle from Holly.
Ah, thanks.
You're very welcome. So for me, like Holly comes from like the middle ground of all the things that we do, because like Mark's creator of bits and pieces. Holly kind of does all the things. Holly reads all the books and tells me about them, and plays all the games and tells me about them. I've put in gamer, painter, role player. I mean
That's yep. I mean, yes, to a certain extent. I think I'm more of a
sounds a bit like an instruction. Gamer, painter, role player. I don't want to.
Jamaica.
It's a great game. That's
and
that's
other
one of the best
words.
racing games I've ever played, Jamaica.
Excellent, excellent. I look forward to like the hall. The board game hall was very full of laughs when you were playing Jamaica. It was really nice to hear. No, I think that if if Mark is the like a maker and a crafter and a creator of things, then I'm much more of a thinker about things from a safe distance. I I enjoy painting. I enjoy writing for role-playing games. I enjoy playing the games. I enjoy all of those things, but generally speaking, the further away I am from people, noise, any kind of social interaction, and the more books I have, generally the happier I
And
am.
you're quite the aesthete, aren't you?
The word is aesthete,
Which
but yes.
leads me on to my next point, you being a logopehile.
Logophile, ironically, but yes.
See, that's a lover of words, obviously.
I do love words. Yeah, very much.
Reader, writer, clever math,
Well, I mean, I do my best.
and owner of the world's grumpiest cat.
Yes, I do. He's here. You can see his tail just here if you're watching in my cavernous living room.
If you do have the joy of following Holly on Instagram, most evenings you will see that she posts a story of her cat, and he just looks sad or grumpy or miserable or like he's going to murder you. Like I occasionally get pictures of him and post them on my stories, which they usually are quoted, "I will throw you into the sun, human."
Yeah, he is the world's grumpiest cat. He's the world's weirdest cat. Like for a number of reasons, but primarily he's scared of treats. So you try and give him a treat, and he genuinely runs away. So I've tried to turn that into a game now, where I just kind of fling treats at him, and make him catch them.
And watching flee.
There's your problem. If you're actually throwing them at velocity to him, of course he's going to run away.
No, I mean, I'm like I'm sliding them down the floor in like
Catapult.
fun and imaginative ways. I'm not,
like grenades.
not like grenades.
As though the cat would know what a grenade is.
Yeah.
There he
Oh,
is.
look, here he
Look at
is.
him.
He's not thinking of them as treats, he's thinking of them as shrapnel.
Who's grumpy?
There you go.
Who's
And
grumpy?
then there's me. I'm Stephen, and I've cultivated an online presence under the guise of the name Plague Mantle, or as it's properly pronounced, Plage Mantel.
It's not though, is it? Because after the G there's a U, which means that it's not plage.
Mantel. If you're a proper logopehole, you'd understand.
Couldn't it be
nod right
Plugway?
off. It could be Plugway Mantel, yes. But it can't be plage because there is a U after the G, rendering it a hard G,
Yeah,
not a soft G.
I'm not exactly sure what I do, but I can vaguely remember what I did. So that's kind of a bonus.
I mean, yes, we can talk about so many things.
My credentials for like kind of doing this kind of stuff come from being, I used to run, like when I was a kid, I used to run lots of games for TSR. I used to go to schools and run games for children, D&D and that kind of thing, go to Gen Con and run games. They gave me medals. It was exciting for role playing. They nailed them to my face.
I doubt that's true.
Fine. I've been LARPing since I was 11. I've run my own LARPing system. My Instagram account is full of board games and reviews and many followers. And I hate everything, apparently, particularly LARPing and board games. And
Notoriously grumpy.
Absolutely, just like my cat. But I mean, you are notoriously grumpy though, because of how much you love Wind in the Willows. Weirdly,
Badger, yes.
Yeah, it's the reason that Stephen's really grumpy is always going to be because Badger hates company.
Company. Yeah. That's the guy. He's my hero, Badger, when I was growing up. Him and Doctor Who, they were my two heroes.
that's a really disparate set of role models, isn't it? The Doctor and Badger from Wind in the Willows.
Who knows
There
what
is
he's going to
no-
get reincarnated as next? Could be a badger.
That'd be all right. I could live with that. Anyway, this is like the longest start up to a pod I've ever done.
Yeah.
That is quite long. How long have we been going now? Like 2.5 years. Okay, 15 minutes, and we're still on the introduction section. Sorry,
Can we
everyone.
go home now?
If you are
No.
home, you idiot.
Oh,
Sorry, that was quite harsh.
yeah, I can take it. I'm thick-skinned.
And no, I'm not gonna. No, don't.
You were going to say just thick, weren't you?
No, I was going to comment because you keep going about like the current hue of your skin.
It's my
Mark
camera.
thinks
Seriously, whatever I
No,
do,
I-
I look as though I'm about to explode.
Are you getting enough fibre?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. I had a lot of spam.
that's probably why you're so pink in the
Yeah,
face.
notoriously high in fibrous spam.
I feel like I should Google it just to go on the safe side, but I won't do that. Holly can do
Hang
it.
on.
Holly's got it's
I'm on it.
high in fibre.
I'm on it.
So yeah, I was going to move on to what we've been doing on my list of like things to talk about. Is spam high in fibre, or just say no in big capital letters?
Spam.
This is a really weird pod.
Start as you mean to go on.
Classic spam by Spam
Mhm.
contains 180 calories per 56 gram serving. This serving contains 16 grams of fat, 7 grams of protein, and 1 gram of carbohydrate. The latter is 0 grams of sugar and 0 grams of dietary fiber.
Wow, that's a lot.
There is no fiber in Spam.
That's
I mean-
not good.
You're lucky that spam is so slimy because it'll just slip out.
Oh.
This is not what we've been doing for the last 2 years, but it does demonstrate the fact that I'm willing to go off at a tangent at any point in time whatsoever, and apparently no one can stop me. Even if they're giving me the eyes on the screen. Stop it, Stephen. I'm still.
Why was that Scottish?
It was Kate Bush behind you. You know, she's always famous doing a Scots accent.
Please elaborate.
No. So it's been a couple of years. Mark, what have you been doing? Let's move on to Mark. Mark,
Oof.
what have you been doing for 2 years?
What have I been doing? Well, roughly 2 years ago, my life went poof and exploded. And about 7 months ago, I moved down to Cornwall and started a new one. And so far, so rather good.
Yeah, you got a lovely little gaff.
Thank you very much for noticing.
In
Right,
Oh,
don't
okay.
dox me.
Oh, I didn't. But yeah, so you've moved, set up a beautiful new workshop.
Yeah, with a lot of help from my good friend Adrian, who's just been my right hand man. So yeah, we converted a single garage into a studio workshop, fully insulated, double glazing. It's in fact a lot better than the workshop that I had before, which was just a wooden shed with none of the above. So yeah, it's compact and bijou, but it's got everything I need.
I like it. It's very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was lovely. Had some very interesting things in it. when we
always
visited.
does.
And right next to some really good antique shops. I got a hat when I went to visit.
I got this picture of Kate Bush.
I'm not going to go get my hat because it's
They
elsewhere.
were both very happy with their
I was.
purchases.
I'll wear my hat next pod.
I was so excited with my Kate Bush picture.
Anyway,
I'm just going to hug it.
what have you been doing, Holly, other than hugging a Kate Bush picture for 2 years?
So I have I bought a flat. So I moved. I have a new job now, so I am. My work is better. My work-life balance is better. I like to think. I got a cat.
I got the other one.
You got the other one.
I'm actually quite looking forward to hopefully you being able to talk about things like the Cybathlon.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about.
Yeah, I know.
At least until sort of, like after
Absolutely.
it
I
happened.
don't expect you to talk about it
but
during it, but like post the events, I think that's going to be great. I mean, you can talk a little about what the events are, can't you?
Yeah. So I am I'm an editorial account manager for a company that works with an organization who creates competitions and events that test assistive technologies, like the innovations in research and development in assistive technologies, in like proper kind of competition setting.
But when it's on, because it's like an Olympics basically, you can just sit and watch it, and it's freaking cool. It's very good.
Yep.
We have a watch along in Discord on our Discord, and you get very excited watching it because it's just come on, God! It's very cool. It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to this year's.
It's wonderful as a competition. It's incredible because it's not quite so much about the feat. Like, so when you look at things like the Olympics and the Paralympics, they're very much designed for athletic prowess. So they're very much designed for everyone will have the same. If they're say people with a leg amputation, they will generally always be wearing kind of a very similar running blade or a very similar prosthesis for their leg. Whereas when you look at Cybathlon, it's not about how a person, or at least it's not so much about how a person is physically, it's the device that matters. So can that device, if it's an arm, for example, can your prosthetic arm screw in a light bulb? Does it have the ability to grip, but not grip so hard that it smashes the light bulb? Can it turn? How is the wrist joint managed?
It's very cool.
They're incredible feats of engineering, and I would thoroughly recommend that anyone that has the option to watch the live stream,
plug it away when it's time, can't we?
Yeah, they are honestly my favorite people in the whole world.
And it's definitely I don't know. For me, it fits into the geekdom world. But there's incredible bits of kit that like have been adapted from games controllers and stuff that help people do stuff. It's very cool. So that's what Holly's been doing. I've just been in a cupboard waiting for the podcast to restart. That's what I've been doing.
No, you haven't though, have you?
That's what I've done. And I didn't know. I've started a games event things. I run games events on the South Coast now, and role playing events and stuff. Yeah, I just kind of got on with my general life of running events, but just stayed a little bit away from LARPing.
And you're working more on the creation side of things.
I've written and released a bunch of adventures and stuff into the world. They've been published, and working on a board game. And my Instagram's gone a bit wild. People, like thousands of followers now apparently, who enjoy reading about the exploits of my son and I as we travel around playing games and generally being arses. Yeah, that's about it really.
No, that's more than about it. That's excellent.
That's so exciting. I've been sent a behind the pics scene of us by our producer on Discord.
Oh.
That's I thought we looked a bit different, but yeah, okay, that's how we look. I don't know why.
Okay, now I have to look.
I don't know why we're all naked, but you know,
we're not naked for all the people that can't see us.
Yeah. So you know, as I said, we're going to be going onwards. We're going to carry on with the pods. You know, this means a lot to us. We've talked about it a lot for the 2 years we haven't been podding. It's been repeatedly brought up. We definitely didn't want to stick with LARPing because that's just not enough stuff to talk about. Because when we talk together as human beings away from, well, now we're on Riverside, rather than Discord. You know, we excitedly envelop ourselves in our hobby and all of our hobbies, and
talk about spam and poo.
well, yeah. I mean, usually we just leave that at the pub, but apparently we brought that to the pod. They both begin with P and are 3-letter words. Jeez. Yeah. So we were really keen to kind of just get back on the pod train and talk to you people out there in the world. I believe you're called an audience. That may well just be Bill. That may just be my son listening, and us three as we listen to ourselves back, and Kit's forced to listen to it over and over again as he edits our work. But hopefully there's more of you out there, because we've got some guests coming on. I've personally been speaking this very day to a gentleman called Lee, who runs Holly, can you say the name for me?
Molinarius
See,
Games.
I say like this, Molinarius, and it doesn't sound anywhere near as posh.
Thank you.
Who runs Molinarius Games? Who runs the company that Holly can say well?
Molinarius Games.
Who make games like Ocean Pod and Shoal. If you played those, we love them because they're environmentally excellent. Are they not, Beans?
Yes. Sorry, I was distracted by the cat. Look.
With games about taking plastic out of the ocean and just generally saving the planet. So we like them a lot. And Lee's an excellent chap.
He is. Lovely human being. Makes a lot of really cool papier-mâché.
Not willies, Mark.
No, whales.
Whales willies.
No. Sullivan, what are you doing?
Anyway, so yeah, I hopefully he'll be on soon. Mark, you've got at least one guest lined up.
Yeah, I've got a somewhat of a legend from the film industry. I'm not going to give away his name at the moment, but somebody I've worked with in the past, and he is a very talented concept artist.
There you go. We'll obviously tell you who it is before they're on the show, so you've got opportunities to want to tune in. But yes, so we've got some guests lined up. Holly's going to be contacting a few people that she knows. Because
I'm going to be contacting the one person I know.
It's quite famous,
one person.
Famous. It's actually been in big films, and and we can't say who it is, but
No.
Yeah, very big films, in fact. Whoa, exciting!
We're so mysterious, aren't we?
Aren't we?
Enigmatic.
Yeah.
People out there are waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, so we've got some guests coming in. But we'll reignite some of our old LARPing contacts as well, because there are a few people we wanted to interview last time around that we didn't get a chance to. Like Kelly Sweeney, we really wanted to talk to Kelly about food, and we didn't get around to that. And there's some other creators out there that I want to sit down and chat with on here, and obviously you guys, if you're listening and you want to be on, then and talk about your games, and particularly if you're LARPers, because going out in the field, or you go to conventions and stuff, loving to hear about your experiences, that would be good. So that was a very long-winded look at us. We're back. I'm going to chat to you about what we're doing, and it took up approximately half of our hour that we usually allocate to our shows. We're probably a bit shorter today because we're old. I'm old. Mark's still quite young, and Holly is, basically just entering her early 20s.
Thank you.
God, I completely ran the wrong way. And yeah, we're going to be a little bit quicker today, but we're going to be talking about some of the things that we've done recently that are geeky, or we're about to do that are a bit geeky, and the highlights of our last 2 years. So yeah, I mean, Mark, what that you've done recently, or you've got coming up, that is going to be quite exciting?
Well, most of this year has been taken up with getting a new house sorted, but next weekend, not this one coming, but the following one, I will be at the Plymouth Pirate Festival along with a lot of LARPers and a lot of pirates, and apparently they're aiming to break the Guinness record for the most pirates in one place. There will also be a galleon there, a proper big galleon. So we're going to be poncing around on that in our pointy hats going, "Yar!" a lot. So I'm quite looking forward to that.
Why would you do that?
Because we're pirates.
Oh, right.
That's what pirates do.
Ah.
No. So it was good fun last year, and weather permitting, it'll be excellent fun again.
So there you go, listeners, and watchers or viewers. If this comes out before the Pirate Festival, and you want to catch a glimpse of a probably drunken Mark falling off of a galleon into the sea, then
Please video it and send it to us, and we'll send
Yeah,
£250.
we might pay a reward for any
Not
humorous
waving,
videos.
drowning.
We might pay a reward or send you a pen. Why a
It won't
pen?
be branded or anything. It would just be a pen.
Just from the desk of Mark
Yeah.
Cordory.
Yeah.
He'll be very grumpy that he's lost all his pens and been thrown into the sea. It's quite a nice pen.
You too could win this.
It's not a cigar. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Is that it? Is that anything exciting in the 2 years? Anything geeky?
Oh, mate.
You said earlier I've got a highlight, but I won't tell you
No,
what it
I
is.
think
You've forgotten what it is. Now I can't remind you.
biggest geek highlight for me in the past 2 years, because I've had a lot of things going on in my life, so I haven't had a lot of time for geeking out. But my favourite geek experience was watching the Dungeons and Dragons film, which I thought nailed it.
It was brilliant.
It was just superb, so much so that I watched it 3 times at the cinema.
Has it been so long that we haven't reviewed the D&D movie together?
No, we
it
have not
has.
reviewed-
It's been that long.
Yeah.
My word.
Mon
Yep.
Dieu.
And I have to say that my absolute standout performance, my entire standout performance from the D&D movie was Hugh Grant.
He was great.
I loved him. He was phenomenal.
I thought the whole
Absolutely
cast was
phenomenal.
great. It was just a real pleasure to watch. And
Yeah.
with loads of references for people who, old fans of the game like me. And a lot of fun for people who never ever played the game. Yeah, I thought it nailed it. So that was my favourite film of last year.
Daisy Head was excellent, I thought.
Yeah, Daisy Head. But I mean, she's brilliant in everything she's in, isn't she? I had a really Stephen and I went to go and see the Dungeons and Dragons movie with another one of our friends. Hello, Trues. Shout out to Trues. Hey, Trues. And we went to go and see it in a cinema in Southampton that has the comfiest seats in the whole world, and they have like 4-way movement, and you can, they basically do everything apart from heat up. They're brilliant. And for ages, I kind of was like, I set myself up and I, moved the chair around quite a lot, got myself into a really comfortable position, which is someone with like a lot of back problems.
I have to say, you were
quite a
laughing
difficult
like I
thing.
gave you beer.
There was also beer, yeah, and they would bring you things on proper like china plates in the cinema, and there were bento boxes. It was fabulous. But I was getting really confused around halfway through when like there are a few scenes where like people are speaking not English, and I was sat there and I was like, what is going on? And I had my chair so low that I'd cut the bottom of the screen off and couldn't see the subtitles. So like it was only because I kind of sat up a bit that I was like, oh, I'm missing so much of the plot. Great. But I thought it was thoroughly
For me,
excellent.
it was the
Really
fact that it
enjoyed
was such a LARPers film, because the bits like the Speak with Dead moment in it, that as a spell has existed in like so many LARPs I've been to, and it is played in exactly the same way. The ref will be as cantankerously awkward as possible when you ask a question near the Speak with Dead monster. And the Speak with Dead monster will answer, go, I'm not talking to you, am I? And he'll go, no, obviously not. The fuck! And I was reminded very strongly of an event that we ran frickin' years ago, where the players had enough power to cast that spell once, and they got this dead guy, and they were like, "We need to. This is our only lead," and they just summoned it and went, "Fuck." Stephen is gonna like, well, we've played this game a few times, so we're gonna we speak near the ref or the crewman, we're gonna get diddled. So let's all huddle over here. But there was still some crew knocking around, so they left one of their guys to guard my body because I was playing the dead guy. And they, for some reason, just left behind the also most mischievous player member. So, you know, I'm standing there as this ghost, and he's like, "You're all right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm dead." He's like, "Oh, it's terrible. What happened?" So I told him, and he's like, "That's awful. Is there anything I can do about it?" He's like, I'm like, "No, I'm long past." So by the time they came back, they were like, "Where's the body gone?" He's like, "I have no idea." 1 minute it was here. The next minute it was gone. What happened? What did someone come? It's like, no, we were just having a conversation. I asked it, you know, is there any message I can send on to your family? It said no and vanished. Well, you only asked it one question. No. I asked it about 5. This is fun. And it reminded me of every LARP moment like that, you know, that we've done. And I think it's probably at least every other event that happened.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Speak with Dead. That made me very happy. And it was a great film. And it definitely beat the ass out of the previous Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, yeah, any other films that have had the title of Dungeons and Dragons they've just been awful. So, I mean, wasn't having a huge amount of hope for this one, but it nailed it.
Yeah,
I was so happy watching.
And I was sad about the previous one because it had Tom Baker and Richard O'Brien was in, you know, the previous, you know, who are legends of my youth, and suddenly they're in this awful version of.
I've definitely seen one Dungeons and Dragons movie that isn't the most recent one, but that doesn't have Tom Baker and Richard O'Brien in it.
I think there's been maybe three Dungeons and Dragons films beforehand, but they were just the most hideously generic, low-budget fantasy films with no reference to Dungeons and Dragons other than the title.
They did.
They
said stuff like, "You're a low-level dwarf. You can't do this thing."
In the one that I watched, there was a big book.
Yeah, that's the first D&D movie they did, like in the reboot. Because that book, there's a bit where he sticks his head in the book.
Yeah,
and it's like, so the movie makes no sense. But I've watched the director's cut since, and when he sticks his head in the book, there's a whole scene which explains the plot of the movie, but they cut that bit out.
Oh, that seems silly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I watched it afterwards and went like, "Oh, this is much better with this. It's not great, but it's definitely better than it was now that I know what's going on." At least I've got a anyway. So if we move back to the actual pod there, that kept in the geeky sort of thing. Holly, what's the most geeky thing you've done recently?
I have. I got a giant tattoo of Kate Bush.
You did?
A giant tattoo of Kate Bush
on your face.
No, on my calf. And I got
on
another...
your baby cow.
No, on the oh god, I'm not even going to start playing this game with you. And then I got another tattoo of Smaug on my arm. Tolkien's original drawing of Smaug. So that was fun. And then mostly I've just been reading books and learning more things about cults, which is all pretty
planning
geeky.
on starting one?
No, guns. The guns cult.
Not a cult.
Oh, the horses.
Not a cult, a cult. Cult.
Yeah.
Look, I genuinely don't believe the fact that you seem to think that as a sound doesn't exist in North London. Because it does.
So sorry, can I just clarify? Is it a cult like in a load of weird people doing weird things in the forest at night? Or is it
larping?
Yeah, very similar, which is why we get such a bad rep in the 80s. Yes,
cults. Yes,
oh, okay.
As
interesting.
In Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
You know, Manson family, all of that kind of stuff. Yes, that is my area of
fascination,
special interest. Absolute special interest. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, what's the funnest cult you're reading about at the moment?
Oh, okay, that's tricky. I've done a lot of reading recently into realism. or realism, which was started by a this French guy who now goes by Rael. And the whole concept of realism is that we will be ascended to UFOs and things, and they basically in the 90s they hired a scientist who was also a realist called I think it's Brigitte something, begins with another B, but it's not like Brigitte Bardot, it's like Brigitte Borassier or something. I don't know, I can't remember. But she basically then went on to tell the entire world that they had perfected human cloning. And human cloning was how we were going to live forever and become eternal beings. And she genuinely had a reasonable amount of actual scientists convinced
I should
that
join that
she
cult.
had cloned a child, and that child was living somewhere with parents and having a lovely time. It was around the same time that they cloned Dolly the sheep, and she just kind of said, well, I've taken it one step further and I figured out how to clone people.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
yeah,
I'm not sure if that's geeky or just like kind of dangerous.
it's really there's a really good documentary on Netflix about it. Just
okay, well, are you done? Are you looking up facts on your phone?
Well, no, I was just trying to remember the name of this lady because it's bugging me. But if anyone wants a good sort of starter point into cults, they can read The History of Cults by Robert Schroeder. You know, he does get reasonably confused at times between cults and sects. But
An easy mistake to make.
It is really. But
why have you brought all these people to my bedroom? I thought you said you were interested in cults.
Not sex, sects. I made the tea very clear.
We apologise to our listeners for this interruption in logic.
And
I certainly do not.
Sense. Holly, you just mentioned the Satanic Panic, which obviously affected like tabletop role playing and D&D and even the early days of LARP. Recommending another podcast, which I listen to a lot, is Forgotten TV, and they cover the whole subject of how the whole Satanic Panic started, where it came from, how people got involved and dragged into the whole thing. Fascinating. It was a really interesting podcast, so I'd recommend that. If it's okay to recommend a competitor, well, I mean, no, we're hardly competitors.
Stephen, why are you making a face?
Sixpence has arrived.
Oh no!
There's not a lot of room for Sixpence to move around.
Sixpence.
Yeah, Sixpence is the brother of Sully. Hold on a second, I might have to rescue him.
He is my cat's brother, and what Sully has in fluff, Sixpence has in tail. He has an abnormally long tail for a cat.
You sure he's not a marsupial?
Oh.
I don't know what he is, but
he is rescued and out of the hole that he got stuck in. He's also in a bit of a kerfuffle because he was taken to the vets today and he's still quite stressed out about the fact that that happened. Anyway,
so fucking hell.
So what's the most geeky thing you've done this year?
What, me?
Yeah, we've done like you're reading cults and books and things, whatever. And you wanted to talk about what's the thing in the last 2 years you've done that's the most geeky, isn't it? For Mark, it was like watching a D&D movie.
So I think for me it's, I mean, there are quite a lot of things that the last kind of like this year has been reasonably geeky just overall. I mean, we do a lot of Cthulhu. With Stephen is running a Horror on the Orient Express campaign.
That sounds good.
For us. Well, yeah, of course you're running it. This is no surprise to you, or if it is, it shouldn't be. And we've we've played a lot, done a lot of board gaming, played a lot of games things, but otherwise it has generally just been I've done a lot of reading. I've read 21 books so far this year, and I spend basically all of my free time reading, finding recommendations for new books and things that I can read. And yeah, that's probably the geekiest thing I've done this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, personally speaking, I had a rock and roll weekend with my son Bill. We did a lot of Star Wars related things because it was May the 4th be with you. And of course, Revenge of the 5th. So we went to the cinema and watched The Phantom Menace. I won't go into the free stuff that we got given because that was just a really handy thing that the staff there were like, that no one was there really. And the Galleria that we were in, that's the posh way of saying gallery that Holly uses. Galleria.
It's not, it's, oh
God. There wasn't really anyone there, so they had nothing to do. So they just kind of came and sat with us and gave William free pizza, and they gave me free beer. It was very exciting, and yeah, it was a lovely afternoon. And then we met some a Scottish Mandalorian, and William was given a Lego lightsaber to fight him with, and he was great. He was wonderful. William kept whacking him, and he was like and
was he
William
a pirate?
Was like more like, hey, but I'm not very good at the Scottish accent, so and then William was like, but you're wearing Beskar armor. The guy's like, aye, but it leaves a bruise. So he was fucking great. I loved him. He was brilliant. And we may have spent a bit too much money on Lego. And my word, the Lego Star Wars line is getting, all of the Star Wars lines are getting ridiculous in many shops, but Lego is incredible. They've got some really good models out now. I picked up the new TIE Interceptor. I spent far too much money on that. And I'm in the middle of building the Venator class Star Destroyer thing. That's a bit.
They're huge as well.
Yeah, it's bigger than me.
I'm still hoarding my my Ghost. So anyone that knows me and knows my love of Star Wars will know that Rebels and Hera Syndulla in particular is my absolute favorite part of Star Wars.
Yes, you were very made up to discover that she's a character in the Outer Rim expansion.
She is, which is very cool. And if anyone else plays her but me ever, I will be very grumpy. But when Ahsoka came out, they brought out a load of new Lego, obviously, and one of them was the Ghost, was Hera Syndulla and the Rebels from Rebels ship, which is great because the one that they brought out 10 or 15 years before, or probably not that long before actually.
Well,
the one that they brought out when Rebels came out. The one they brought out when Rebels came out is the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds to buy. It's so expensive. Yeah, which is like a mortgage payment for me. So what I really want, of course, is I really want the giant AT-AT.
That goes off this end of this year. You'll be able to get it.
Yeah, the really big one. But then every time I look at it, it's £735, and that is more than 2 mortgage payments.
Oof.
And I kind of have to look at it. I feel like I have to look at it like that and just be a grown up about it. I will get it this year.
Lego is still great. It's just incredible, isn't it? It's not a toy. It's engineering. It's just fun to build stuff. And I love creating. There's a whole bunch of. One day we'll just do a Lego pod. We should do a Lego pod.
Yeah.
I mean, Lego is just a completely different beast to when I was a kid playing with Lego. I mean, you could build houses and really rubbish cars if you were lucky. But
did you have the castles with a little
drawbridge? You could
drawbridge?
make a castle out of bricks.
That's generally how they make them.
Yeah.
So I remember having I've got the box for my little knight's castle, and the excitement of when you're a kid trying to stick stickers on a shield, and they always stick to your fingers.
We didn't. But when I was a kid, we didn't even have figures with Lego.
What are you talking about? Are you constipated?
No, I was being very old.
And lacking in
Anyway,
fibre.
so that's what I did on Saturday with Bill. That was quite geeky. And we did every Monday we did ball gaming, and we got to play The Search for Lost Species, which is a game I kickstarted about a year ago.
It was, yeah.
So it's like
a
a
while
deduction
ago.
game. It's all like logic based, and I want to say that I love it, but I'm so shit at deduction games that I'm probably going to hate it forever. But it was quite good fun to play. And then like this weekend we got the Ball Games Day coming up. So if you're listening to this, come to Plateford in Hampshire every second Saturday of the month. Come to Plateford Village Hall in Hampshire, and you can come and play ball games with us because we have hundreds. And I'll be there this weekend with Holly and my son Bill, and we'll be doing some ball gaming. But this last year or two, the geekiest things I've done so many things. I mean, I'd say probably the UK Games Expo was pretty fucking cool. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really was.
I got to meet up a lot of people from Instagram who I haven't met before, who are my friends on there.
And friends in real life now, which is really nice.
Yeah, they become friends for life. Shout out to Ross if you're listening to this, or
Hi, Ross.
Or
Ross.
Or Ross, other Ross, or Lanners and Mrs. Lanners, if Mrs. Lanners is listening to this. And all everyone that we met. That was really good. It was just the amount of stuff that we did there was incredible. I'm really looking forward to going this year because we've got lots of invitations to meet even more people from Instagram, and we're going to go and do demoing on tables and stuff. So coming back from the Games Expo is going to be quite the pod because we're doing lots of new games, meeting lots of developers and new game designers. It's going to be good. So I really enjoyed that.
And while you're off doing that, I will be entertaining my best friend Steph, who will be coming with us.
There's no one there, Beans.
No, I know, but this is metaphorical Steph. Metaphorical Steph exists in this space. And I will be entertaining Steph.
Is metaphorical Steph like Holly properly?
Holly properly. It just sounds so Greek, doesn't it? It just sounds so like ancient. It sounds like ancient Greek. It's very cool. Holly properly. Love it.
Well, you're Halibians in the ancient Greek, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Anyway, so that's probably the geekiest thing I've done in the last sort of 2 years. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to going to the next one. And of course, we're all going to be at Fancy Forest in July, and that's going to be.
That's going to be apocalyptic.
Yeah, so if you're
apocalyptic.
Yeah, very good, very good. So we're in the post-APOC section, and we're doing podcasting there, and we're going to be interviewing lots of people and chatting to people. So if you're listening to this, and you're thinking, "Oh, do I go to Fancy Forest?" You can come meet us if you like.
Oh, yes.
And if you especially like, which you all should, you should come and see us not only doing podcastings, but you should come and see us wearing kit that Mark has made and then buy it.
Oh, bless you.
No, don't buy my kit because then I'll be naked.
No, after the... Oh, good lord.
I mean, I don't mind, but...
With Stephen's special apocalyptic smell.
I'm cultivating it special.
Nice, thanks.
Can I stay in a different tent?
Yep. No, we will be there in a capacity in the post-apocalyptic zone, which is its first time at Fantasy Forest, and we are there promoting the genre, promoting post-apocalyptic in the UK, along with Ian from let me remember, it's Dreadskin Studios is his work. So he is basically our host and the main organizer for the post-apocalyptic zone. See, even I can't say it. And we will be there doing our best impression of the end of the world. So come along and join us.
Yep. We're bringing some board games for us to play, and you're welcome to join in with us if there's space around the table. I'm definitely bringing things like Fallout Shelter, Dead of Winter. And I'm going to pick up a few more. I was going to say to you guys, I made a list of a few things and pieces I'm going to pick up, so I'll send that over to you guys. You can pick some of your favourites out.
Okay.
And I'll pick them up and we can learn them and play them while we're there. Might even do a bit of role-playing with us. You never know. The excitement. But yeah, so that's us. So yeah, we're going to try and do this every week. or so, and get it out to you guys. We will post up on Facebook and on Instagram our intentions for what the theme of the pod's going to be. We're looking to get ourselves a Discord sorted out or something similar before our next pod. Maybe some Patreon stuff going on because there's a lot of stuff we want to do. We're gonna put it out to you. This is our event 0 pod, where we just kind of get back into the groove of things. Do you think we did all right? Do you think we've got into the groove of things, people? How are you feeling about this? You feeling good?
I
Felt
think
like the
that
old
was
days.
all bollocks, really. But
I know.
our classic bollocks. I think we did what we do badly. We did it well.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or not. That might be one of the most backhanded compliments I've ever received.
I'm not sure whether it was an insult.
Everything we do is shit, but we do it well.
No, I said it was bollocks. I didn't say it was shit.
All right, fine, fair enough.
Well, Stephen's been talking bollocks for most of the time, so.
I bet we all have. Let's be honest.
I think we've done the intro. That was good. We explained where we've been. For those who didn't know us, we've explained who we are, and then we told a few stories, which is generally what we do. And we didn't have anything to kind of review or anything because sometimes we talk about like games we've been to or games we've played or books we've read. We did a touch on that a little bit, so we've demonstrated that we can do that.
That we can string sentences together. Yeah, go us.
Yeah, and people will have heard that, and they might be thinking to themselves right now, there's probably a few more sentences in these folk that we could listen to.
Ooh, just you wait till you see the words we know. Well, mostly Holly. Holly is the wordsmith.
I know the word.
No, Holly's a logophile.
Logophile.
Logophile?
Yes.
Don't
ask me where to log the file.
Damn it!
I know your game.
That's true. You do. Yeah, I think we've done all right, and we've met 2 cats, and that was exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We'll call that. I think we'll call that a success.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's up for other people to judge.
Sure, I'm going to judge you as a success.
You
can listen to other people if you like. I'm going to be proud of what I've just done.
No, I think we've definitely started. Whether we've started as we mean to go on or not is yet to be seen. But I'm happy with this.
Right. Well,
I haven't reviewed the 5 books that I have in front of me, but that can wait.
But we can talk about them later. So, we've shown them off now. We can go look. We can talk about books later. So it's been a good hour. We are 10 seconds away from it being 60 minutes. So we'll say goodbye to you all. Thank you all for listening to us. If you have, or watching us, that's also kind of you. We'll be back at some point next week, which could be next week, or by the time we release this last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Who can say?
I don't like the temporal things. They confuse my brain.
It's very low-key. But there we are. So say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
We'll see you soon. And remember, don't eat spam.